Let's take a look at one of Honor's new phone. No, it is not their flagship phone, but this is the one with the AI aesthetics. Yes, this is what they are calling it, and I have no idea where the AI part comes into play. But hey, this phone is actually very competitive. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the reasons why I think the Honor 200 Pro should be in your list of consideration if you're buying a phone within this kind of 2,000 to 3,000 ringgit price range. Remember to like and subscribe because we don't have any sponsors and that will really help us out a lot. So let us just begin with the review. Now let's talk about the design first. There are two colors available, cyan, which I like the color, and also moonlight white, which I actually prefer thanks to the marbly texture. You can even touch it and feel the matte finish as well, which is something that I really like. The front and back of the phone is curved into the frame, and I actually like this because when you hold the phone, it feels very comfortable to hold. Plus, the corners of the phone are also rounded, making it even more comfortable to hold. Again, I'm not sure which part of the design is AI aesthetics, but I personally do like the design despite its marketing buzzwords. Now, the screen of this phone is rather simple, I would say. It's a 6.78-inch OLED screen with a resolution of 2700 by 1224 pixels and a 120Hz refresh rate. It's slightly higher than the usual 1080p resolution, and as mentioned earlier, it's also slightly curved as well. Yeah, it's mostly impossible to use with a tempered glass screen protector for the Honor 200 Pro. However, Honor did pre-install a piece of hydrogel screen protector on the phone, which is a rather unusual choice since phones usually just come with a film screen protector out of the box. Now, the screen quality of the Honor 200 Pro isn't exactly the best, I would say. It can achieve 100% of sRGB color gamut coverage, but only 86.17% of DCI-P3. And yes, this is already in the vivid color profile, and there is no other color profiles that we can choose from. Its maximum brightness, we can get around 1115 nits, which is actually quite okay for all smartphones within this price range in the year 2024. Again, I have seen better screens for phones in this price range. There is this huge capsule-like notch at the top of the screen, and whether you like it or not, it really depends on the functionality and how it affects your usage, and we'll talk about this later. Also, the under-display fingerprint scanner is placed at a very low position, making it not that ergonomic to use at all. Now, one of the most interesting things about the Honor 200 Pro is the chipset. It is powered by the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 that was announced like about 2 to 3 months ago. Now, there are many controversies around the 8S Gen 3, but as shown in our gaming test, it's functionally quite okay, I would say. But since the Magic OS doesn't have an FPS reader built in, I have to rely on my own eyeball to judge the FPS on the screen itself. Then comes War Thunder. That game has an FPS meter built in, and I realized that the performance is actually worse than the 8 Gen 2 and the 8 Gen 3. Looking back now, I can understand why there are many people saying that the 8S Gen 3 is controversial. Its name suggests that it is within the Premium 8 series of chipsets and has the moniker Gen 3 as well. But in fact, it is using the Adreno 735 GPU, and yeah, the GPU performance is just worse than the 8 Gen 2. But what about the battery life then? Well, the 5200 mAh battery in this Honor 200 Pro, I have no idea what's the watt-hour value since they don't disclose that information. And throughout our standardized battery life test, it can only last 11 hours and 37 minutes. Yikes! That's actually worse than other 8 Gen 2 phones that we've tested last year. So I'm not sure what's going on with the 8S Gen 3. As for the charging time though, it's surprisingly good. It does come with a proprietary 100-watt charger in the box, and it takes around 45 minutes to charge from 15% to completion. Not exactly the fastest, but it is at a very decent speed. What's more interesting is that when I plug in this Honor 200 Pro into our Ugreen 140 watt GaN charger, It can charge from 15% to completion in almost the exact same charging curve and only takes 3 minutes longer than the stock 100 watts charger. I don't know what's happening here because our watt meter only reads about like 55 watts maximum here, and that is because the Honor 200 Pro does support USB PD charging standards. It's just that it's kind of weird to see that it's not that much slower than the 100 watts charger that is included in the box. Now, the software, it's a rather simple one. It's running on Magic OS 8.0 on top of Android 14, and honestly, I think it's just looking and feeling a lot more or less like the older Magic OS from many years ago. The settings menu is a bit complicated as many things are just scattered all over the place. For example, if I want to change any app's power consumption settings, then I have to find it in the individual app settings menu. Should I even call it that? Yeah, but not in the battery setting menu. And here's where some of the AI features start to come out. For whatever reason, this Magic Capsule is considered an AI feature as well. The supported apps, as far as I know, is mostly first-party apps and also Spotify being the only exception here. There are some other features like the Magic Portal that looks cool in theory, but they are only rather limited in terms of compatible apps. Okay, now let's talk about the cameras. The camera bump is in a rather unique oval shape here. It could be compressed even smaller, but I think this is okay. Both the main and telephoto cameras are 50 megapixel sensors, and that does sound good. The picture quality is decent. Across all the three cameras, there is nothing out of the ordinary here, as I would say the colors are okay. The details are also okay, and even the ultra-wide angle camera is actually doing quite a good job. And it also has autofocusing as well. But one thing I did realize is the white balance. You see, the white balance is very inconsistent across the three cameras. Anything taken with the main camera, I would say it's a little bit too blue. The ultra-wide angle camera and the telephoto cameras are better, but they are also slightly towards the yellow side. It's jarring if we just put all three cameras pictures side by side and then you realize the discrepancy between the white balance. Yeah, it's just too yellow and then suddenly it's too blue. Okay, a few more things to mention. This phone is using a USB 2.0 port at the bottom, and also there is no display output over its USB-C port. It does have dual nano SIM card slots and an IR blaster, but there is no micro SD card slot and no audio jack. Okay, so should you actually buy the Honor 200 Pro? That is the question that we also want to ask you as well. At the price of 2,699 ringgit, I think this is a rather competitive phone because it is more or less the same price as any other Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 phones that are available today. So what do you think about the Honor 200 Pro? Are you gonna buy it? Let me know down in the comment section below, and also do let me know if you kind of think that the 8S Gen 3 is misunderstood or does it deserve the hate. And remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.